going to show you how to create a one-page website for your bookkeeping business under an hour. That doesn't mean this video is going to be an hour. It just means that if you take your time and you follow the steps that I'm going to show you in this video, you're going to be able to not only design, but create your website within an hour and start sharing it right away. Doesn't that sound great? In the past few weeks, I have been sharing a few different videos with you, the reasons why you should consider having a one-page website. And I've also shared with you the 6 core elements that your one-page website should have in order for it to be a very powerful marketing tool for your new business. Even if you're just starting out, you don't need to get fancy. Start simple. I'm going to make sure that I put the cards to those videos up here in the video, and I'm going to also list them wherever you're watching this video as well. So in case you need a refresher or you haven't watched those first, they're worth the watch. I'm Veronica Sagastumi, and I created the Profitable Bookkeeping Biz channel to help you to start, run, and scale a profitable bookkeeping business. By the time you're finished watching this video, you're going to be inspired to take action in order to create and design your one-page bookkeeping business website. It doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, but it's a start, and you can always go back and tweak it later. Before I take you over to my desktop, I want to make sure that you have all the things that you need. So there's a little bit of preparation that you need to do. The very first thing is you need to do a little bit of research. Poke around 3 to 4 websites, no more than that, to see what it is that you like and what you don't like. Even if it's not a one-pager bookkeeping website that you're looking at, bookkeeping, tax preparation, accounting, even if it's, one that has multiple pages or one page, start to jot down what is it that you like and what you don't like. You're going to be creating and designing one page, so don't overdo it. Maybe 6 to 7 sections, that's all. But if you need help with that, go back to my video, the 6 core elements that your one-page website should have, and that will give you a short list of what to focus on. The second thing would be to watch those other 2 videos that I just mentioned. Again, the cards may flash in the video here, but I will put them over in the description as well. You want to look at the 6 reasons why you should have or you should consider having a one-page website, and the other video is the 6 core elements that your one-page website should have in order for it to be a very powerful tool for you to use to market your new bookkeeping business. The third thing I want you to consider is what is the overall look and feel that you want? What's the color scheme? Do you want it bright and vibrant? Do you want it to be mellow? Do you want it to be like a monochromatic? Just have an idea. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it's not forever. It's just to get you started. And maybe a little bit of an idea of the font. Do you want like fancy cursive, or do you want like very bold but easy to read? And if you have a logo, great. If not, you'll be creating one. And yeah, that's it. It's just I want you to kind of have an idea as to what it is that you want the overall look and feel of your website to have. The fourth thing that you want to do to prepare is just maybe do a little jotting down of what you want that original one-pager to look like. I'm going to put something here on the screen of something that I just kind of jotted down very quickly. I did it for a colleague of mine who was thinking about having a one-page website, and I told her, don't overthink it. Don't get stuck in, what is that, analysis paralysis. Just jot down some of the key elements that you want to have. Keep the 6 core elements that I've shared with you in another video. I've shared with her as well, and off we went. So maybe you want to, that's the fourth thing to prepare. Jot down a little bit of a framework of what you want to do, and then use that for the 5th thing for you to prepare, and maybe do a mock-up, a wireframe mock-up using Google Docs or a Word doc. As I have done here, I will show you that as well. I just basically did some, blocks in a Google Doc to sort of, label the layout that I would want. This is after I had done my research. This is after I had gotten, an idea like the overall look and feel, and focusing on the 6 core elements that I shared with you in a previous email. All right, so I think we're ready to go over to my desktop. Let's get started by creating your one-page website for your bookkeeping business. Let's go. Here we are at my computer, where I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to design and create your one-page bookkeeping website. What you're seeing here is what I referred to in the previous section of this video, which I call the doodle of your one-pager. As you're doing your research on and looking at different websites, whether it's a one pager or a multiple page, what you're doing is kind of like jotting down your favorite sections. Again, I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to do this in the free account of Canva. But for right now, this is again just a blank piece of paper, a notebook, you can tell here. And I just started to jot down some of the sections that I thought were the ones that I wanted to have on my one-page bookkeeping website that I was helping my colleague with, as well as keeping in mind the 6 core elements that I referred to in a previous video. And I'll make sure that you guys have access to that wherever you're watching this video. Look for that link in the description. And as you can see, yep, all we did here is jot it down. And after these sections were sort of like outlined, very rough, very raw, labeled the different sections. And this is what we used in order to then go into a Google Doc to create a what we call a wireframe. Obviously, for the true the web developers out there, they use a totally different software to do wireframes. This is just for the DIYer who wants to just have a really good idea. This saves you time doing some prep time of how you kind of want it to look like. It's not exactly, the dimensions is not exact, but you get the picture. And all I did to do this is you open up a new Google document. And when you go down to the page setup, this is where you're going to make sure, this is a little bit longer than just pages. So this is what you're normally going to look like. You go to file, page setup, and it's going to usually look like this. But if you do this, then as you're starting to design your one-page website, you're going to run out of room and it's going to go into the next section and it's going to be a little distorted, not what you want. Very simply, you go to file, page setup, and you click on page list. Once you do that, then you can see that there is no break. So that's the first thing. The second thing, all I did here is I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and undo that. And you see how it's highlighted around it. It's basically showing the different sections. And that's okay. All I did was enter. Let's say that I wanted to have another section in here. I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go to drawing and I'm going to say new. And once I'm in here, it'll give me the different options. And I am going to have something like a shape of a rectangle. And then I'm just going to click and drag. I'm holding down the left button on my mouse. I'm clicking and I'm dragging it to where I want it to be. And let's say I just want it to be a lot wider. I'm just finding the little, where you can see like the little boxes and doing that, dragging it down to give me wider, or I can make it a lot narrower. And then once I'm inside of the box, I double click to get inside. And maybe I want to just text holding placeholder. You could just do something like that if you want. Now, let me just go ahead and save and close. And you see that it's right here. It's okay. You see how I can just resize it and it does distort it a little bit. This is a mock-up. Don't worry about it. You can double click, come on back. It takes a second. I have a lot of things open and you can always close it. Now you know that it's going to be more like this, around this margin. So play around with as you're doing your mock-up. Don't get too caught up. This is just for you to be able to have something to follow, to a guideline. So let's go ahead and save and close. And you see how now it's so simple. You insert the different shape. If you wanted to recreate something like this, and again, all I'm doing here is I just click outside of the box, I enter, let's say I want to edit it, and now I know that maybe I want to have a circle or the button inside of it. So I go inside of it, and let me go ahead and make this a little bit wider so you can see how simple it is. And you're just making your own little mock-up. And again, maybe I want to have a circle. Go ahead and do that. I can resize it, or I can make it more oval and down like this. You can play around with it. And again, once I do a save and close, it's updated it. And if you don't need it, it's as simple as backspace. So that's how you're going to create your own mockup. You're going to go to Google Doc. If you don't have Google Doc, I'm sure that Word Doc, the MS Word Doc works similarly to this, but I'm just showing you on Google Doc, you go to File, Page Setup. You're going to select the page list so you have a running page, and then you're going to go into Insert, Drawing, New, and you're going to start creating your different sections. All right, now we have something that we can work off of. We are now going to go into our Canva account, the free account. And again, I have a paid account. That's where I create most of my assets, most of the shareable templates that I create and that I either gift for free, that I have as resources, or that I sell. But for purposes of this training, I want to show you what you can do with your free Canva account. As long as you have done some of the pre-work that we talked about up to now, it'll go pretty fast, because here I'm going to show you how you're going to use one of the Canva templates as well as your mockup. The combination of those two factors will accelerate, will fast track the creation, the design and creation of your one-page bookkeeping website. So ready? Let's go. Here we are in my free Canva account, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the search bar up above, and we're going to type in website. And the reason I'm not being more specific with that is because I want to show you what comes up on the left-hand side. This is a free Canva account. On the left-hand side, you can see the style. I'm looking for something that's close to what I already want. Maybe it's an accounting or a bookkeeping template, because again, that's what we are focusing on, is creating an accounting or bookkeeping. It's so much easier to start with a template that we want. Just went for service, and you can see like right away, I have one that's an accounting, and you see that it's multiple pages because I see the number here. And this is a free account, so we want to stay away from anything that has the crown, because those are pro. We want to keep it simple, and we want to make sure that you have access to this in your free account, and that you're not going to incur any additional expenses by having to upgrade to the pro account. So I'm going to keep it a very minimalist look, but you can see that I have a couple here. And so here you can see that I went back, and for the filtering on the left-hand side, I said business and service, just to see what's available to me to choose from. And you don't have to use one that says accounting. Like, you see this black and white one here, and I think there's another yellow one, and you can scroll down and you'll see more. You can use something that maybe grabs your attention, and it could be something like this. Again, we want to stay away from anything that has the little crown, because that will be a paid one. But you don't have to start with one that says accounting or bookkeeping. That's the main thing. You already have your mockup, so we're going to work off of that. Okay, for purposes of this training, I'm going to select this template because it has a good starting point. Because I've already created other templates inside of Canva, I'm not going to get the pop-up that I'm going to show you right now. The first time that you access the website, you may actually, this is one of my trainings that I recorded. You're going to get something that says this: try our new website experience. You want to say try it for free. Right now, Canva is doing a lot of different modifications to their accounts, to the free account as well as the pro account. But when you see this, you want to say try it for free. This is going to make a huge difference, because if you don't say yes, you're not going to get charged. But if you don't say yes, your website will never be able to do what I'm going to show you to do. It's always going to look like a presentation, and the scrolling in the website is not going to look right. So just pay attention to when this comes up, because otherwise you're going to struggle. And of course, you can always ask me questions. However, I don't want you to struggle. I want to make sure that you have an easy experience. Okay. So again, when you log into your free Canva account, and you go into websites, and you actually select one of, like, we selected this one just now, and how you'll know you're in the right thing is because you see how all of these different pages look like they're one consecutive ones, and you start seeing these little levers. If you don't see that, it's because you did not say yes to that question. Okay. All right. So now that we have this out of the way, you're inside of your free Canva account. You have gone to the search bar and selected websites, and you went to the right section, and you are now going to get that pop-up, and you're going to say try it for free. Now we are back in business. You are going to select this website, and again, you can select whichever one, but the main thing is that this is how you know you're in the right one. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to be labeling all of our different sections to coincide with the mockup. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. I just want to make sure also to let you know that one of the things that I like to do is I like to just say draft, so that I know it's a working session, and the name of my website. So whatever it is that you're working on, this is going to ultimately be the name of your website, but for right now, it's a working session. All right. So I am right here, and I see what sections do I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But some of these sections look very close to what I want, so I'm going to keep them. And so at the very top, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. And as one of the things you'll see right away that is different is that these little menu options, instead of being up to the right-hand side, are now going to be on the left-hand side. And they're very similar. So what we're going to do here is we're going to name each section. That is one of the things that is very different. So let me expand this so you can see it easily. You see here on the lower left-hand side, and it says notes. You click on that, and it says notes will be displayed in presenter view. This is page 1. So page 1 is actually going to get duplicated. I'm going to just click on that. You can see I have 2, but the very top section, because I already know that I want an announcement bar. Okay. And so now I'm going to go to the second section. And again, I'm just following what I want. And then after the announcement bar, I'm going to want sort of like a menu section. And you're going to have different options, and this is something that you may not want, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm just going to go to there we go. And now that I'm on my second page, says page 2, I want logo. Okay. Third page is going to be home. That's right here, that section. The next section is going to be, it could be profile or about, up to you. The next section is going to be my services. I could leave this for now. Again, we're going to modify all that, so it doesn't matter. Okay. We're going to say services. We're going to leave that. Testimonials, our client roster, this is going to be clients, or we can say clients or testimonial. Because we're following on Mockup, we're going to label it the section that we want. And then contact information. We may not want this, so I'm going to say, let's work together. That's contact. So I want to move it up. See that? And then let's connect. Let me go ahead and name that page. Let's, you know what? Social media. That's what we want to call it. And then we don't have any other section. We can either add a page or we can duplicate a page. Because I know what I want my footer to be is I'm just going to say footer. Now we have named the draft like a placeholder. We have identified the different sections. Again, we go announcement bar, we have our logo, then we have our home page, then we have our about, then we have our services, and then we have our testimonial right here. Then we have our contact information, and then we have the social media, which will update, and then we have the footer. All right, so far, so good. Now we know that we have all of the different sections. Now what I'm going to do, again, we're not worried about the color and the font and all of that right now. All we want to do is get it close to what we have on the mockup. And so when I click, I'm going to go ahead and click on notes again to get rid of that section in case you missed it. I clicked on notes on the lower left-hand side. I don't want this section anymore. I want a full view. So I clicked on notes again. Now I have a full view. And you can always increase the percentage on the lower right-hand side. You can go bigger or smaller, but I find that about 100% is pretty good. I know that my announcement bar is going to be very narrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my announcement bar and I want to narrow it. And since once I narrow it, some of this starts to disappear, I'm just going to go ahead, and I know that I'm going to want to just change that in a little bit. So I'm just narrowing that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All I'm doing is I'm just sort of like finding the section, and then I'm going to narrow it. And in narrowing it, maybe I'm going to get rid of some of this writing. It's not a huge deal. What I can do also, if I can just move it to the next section if I just want to go ahead and maybe narrow down what I want. All right. So all I'm doing right now is going through each section, and I can either even delete all of this if I want for right now. It doesn't matter because I'm going to redo all of that anyway, but I just want to keep a few placeholders. The announcement bar is going to be really, really narrow, and I can start to resize the logo if I want, but I'm not overly concerned with that. All I'm going to do is resize, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be back in a few minutes and show you what I've done. All right, so as I'm going to click on each section. As you can see, I've narrowed it. I made this a little bit bigger because I'm going to have a menu here. This is my announcement bar, logo. This is my home page. This is about, and it's starting to take shape. This is the services, and this is the testimonials. This is going to be the contact. This is going to be the social, and then the footer. And while it may not look exactly how you want it on the left-hand side, that is okay, because right now all we did is we want to make sure that every section that we have, we're going to have something similar to the mockup so that we don't have to spend a lot of time doing that. So we know that on the announcement bar, we want a little bit of text, and we want a button. All of these things can be clickable. You can add buttons, and you can make it clickable so that it's either you're putting your phone number or your email, or maybe you're linking it to your scheduler if you use Calendly or Acuity. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the text that's here. I'm going to ungroup this because I like this. And I'm just going to come up here to the right-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. And I'm going to bring it up to the announcement bar. And what I want to say here is, again, you're not coming up with all of your content right now. You're just doing a placeholder so that you know what it is that you want to say. Because it could be like, hey, book your discovery call, contact me, let's chat, anything like that. So I have my announcement bar and now I want to put a button. So in the elements section, I'm not going to go ahead and put a button. I'm actually just going to go ahead and select this element. All I did was I expanded the left-hand side. I clicked on elements. I clicked this box and I went ahead and made it a little bit bigger because I can always resize it. And inside of this box, I can put yet another little bit of text so that I can ultimately link it. But because my overall website is going to be minimalist, I'm not overly concerned with exactly getting the right colors. I'm just putting a bunch of placeholders right now. And if I want to, I can also go ahead and duplicate it again and bring just more of that text here. And I'm going to size it because I want it to be maybe like around 12. And you can see that it's kind of blending because it's all gray. That's okay. We don't care. That we're just making another mock-up that we're going to be able to customize even further and make our own. All right, you can see that it doesn't have to be perfect. All you're doing is doing a placeholder, because where it gets really fun is when you start to fiddle with the actual content and the pictures, and it starts to take shape. I've been doing a lot of the design and stuff, so I just want to kind of accelerate this for you guys so it doesn't take too long. It's all blending right now because we haven't selected the style section. But I want to just kind of give you some comfort to know that if you are ready to go, like let's say we've already selected, you imported your logo or you designed a new logo and you brought it here. And in this section, every single one of these text boxes is going to be a section. As you can see here, I've already created a couple of the menu sections that I definitely wanted to be clickable. And so what I want to do here is I just want to tidy this up. So I just clicked and dragged and highlighted all of them. And I'm going to do the positioning and it says tidy up. And by doing that, it's all evenly spaced. But in case you want to just eyeball it and do it yourself, you're okay in doing that as well. For each of these elements, I can come and highlight it. Let me go ahead and see the little paper link that says link. You can go ahead and link it to this section that we just labeled. Remember that? So we started by labeling each section, and that comes in handy now that I'm highlighting the word. I go to the little link and I'm going to go ahead and click to see that. It's just, I can test it right there. And in case you want to get rid of the underline, all you have to do is click on home and come up here to the menu, click on underline, and it's gone. All right. So I'm just going to show you how to do a couple of these so that you get the gist of it. And you can always go ahead and resize that even further if you want. And you are in control of how this looks. You are in control of the sizing and the styling and all of that good stuff. All right, now let's go ahead. I want to show you how you can easily change the coloring, because I know that you're probably worried like, that's too much black. I agree. On the left-hand side of your website design, you're going to see this little dials icon. And here, you can go ahead and see what is the color scheme that is closest to what you would like, or you can come up with your own brand. And let's say that it's something along the lines of, let's say it's this poppin'. You see that? I can just keep clicking that with the shuffle. You see the shuffle? I don't know if you can see it. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. The poppin' is like you can shuffle until you get what you want. It's black and white, so you're not seeing a big difference, but you see the blue pop. Let's do something that's obvious. Let's say you like this, for some reason, you like this a lot more, okay? And you can also just change it yourself. You could just go and change the background yourself, okay? Or you can, just go ahead and keep selecting something that looks better than what you selected. You see that? It's awesome. It's so easy, but I don't know if you can notice, but every single one, it's giving you the color scheme and it's giving you the fonts that you want. So you're not tied to the black and white. You can absolutely go ahead and, just pick something that really speaks to you, or you can do a combination of the manual selection that I just showed you. So for right now, I'm going to select this one. It looks a little bit more professional if you're really like a really traditional kind of bookkeeping and accounting. But see it down here, it says apply to all pages. This is where it gets interesting, because now you can start seeing how, I like this, I don't like that. However, you can go through each section and you can modify it. You're not tied to that. You can just go ahead and you see how I'm going through each section. You see how this is changing a little bit. It's subtle because it's pretty much the same sort of look and feel. But if you're not loving all that, you can just select that one section. And let's say you want to do something lighter or darker or more obvious.
you have a lot of control over this. Let's say you like this look and feel, but you just want to change the color of the font. And maybe you like this, but you just don't like the background. You can just shuffle it. There we go. See that? It's up to you. Don't get caught up in the minutia of things. Just go through and follow the mockup, select your sections, label your sections, and then start working through with how you want it. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come back. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of work. And what I'm going to do is select the different sections. I'm going to go ahead and put the photo of myself and a little bit about me so that you can see what I've done. And after all that, we'll come back and I'll show you just a little bit more of what I did. But I want you to work through. Don't get caught up in, oh, I got to find just the right picture. For me, this one, let's work together. I don't like that picture. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to elements and I'm going to go to photos and I'm going to look something like, so I went to shaking hands and minimize it further, but I don't want to do that. Let's make sure that you don't select anything with the crown because that is paid. And I see one here that, yeah, I kind of like this one. So again, I can go ahead and resize it. And so that is something that I'm going to want to do. Please don't get too caught up in like not having just the right image. Get something out there. Keep it simple. Just go and get it done. So I'm going to go ahead and select some of these things and come back and show you what it is that I did. All right, I'll see you in a few moments. So here we are with the mockup that I just created. Now I want to remind you of the, I was just pulling out some images here. I want to remind you of what that mockup looked like. Remember, we had an announcement bar. Here's our announcement bar. We had a logo with menu section. Here's our section. Here's the home page. I selected an image that's very much with the industry. Again, this could be bookkeeping solutions for veterinarians, dentists, website designers, photographers, wedding photographers, caterers. You know, it just can be whatever industry you're wanting to serve. But the image that I selected was a little bit related to the industry, but this could also be a picture of you. And here we are with a consistent call to action, just like in the announcement bar in the home page. As we go scroll down, I selected an image of me. I want to show you something. Sometimes the image may seem a little too harsh, or what maybe it's got the wrong hue for the color scheme you want. I just brought over an element. I went over to elements. I went to the top and I just selected this square, and then I clicked on it, selected an image, and here I could go with something a little bit more in line with the blues. And then of course I also selected the transparency. And so here we could go very dark, very light. It's just a matter of preference. Some placeholder, a call to action. This, I'm giving you an option, but you want to be consistent. Whatever you choose up here, you want to go through all your buttons. However, I just wanted to show you that if you wanted to do a discovery call instead, you could do that and then link it to your scheduling system here. So whatever it is that you have, you could just select the element, come up here to the paperclip where it says link, and put the link in there. And that's something that I've done. Again, here is the services. I just followed the mockup that we had already created. I am not coming up with all the names yet. I just want to make sure that I have a good layout so that I can come back and work through. I did not choose the testimonials. Instead, I chose a video, and you can do a voiceover of just saying, I'd love to hear about your business. Go ahead and contact me so we can discuss how I may be able to support you. You know, something where it's related to your business. Next, I put in, I said you could insert a value, a belief, or a favorite quote. Sometimes I do the quote, and if you want to, you can then size this as you'd like. But remember, I just want you to keep in mind all the elements. You want to keep white space. Don't scrunch everything up. It makes it really hard on the eye. So don't worry about making these sections a little bit wider, just have some space. Then I went into the contact information. You can see I selected an image. And again, I have an overlay because I wanted it to be a little bit softer. And then I also created these elements. And again, I just went to the elements section and I went to graphic. From the graphics, I asked for things like, you know, the email. And you want to look for things that are free. And even the ones that look black and white or what have you, you can change the color. So that's what I did here. Let me go ahead and put the transparency back on here. This is what it's looking like. And then the footer here is the let's connect. I decided to put the social media icons, and every single one of these icons came from the free graphics. So if I went to Facebook, or maybe you want to change that, these are all free, or you want to, you know, do TikTok. The trick here is that once you have them and you put them here onto your section, you want to make sure that you tidy them up. All I did was click and drag, come up here to where it says position to the right. You look up in the upper right hand side, position, and you want to do vertical. And you see it puts them all in line, but sometimes it looks a little odd. So go ahead and eyeball it, not a problem. You could also just put this here if you want and click and drag and bring them all over here. And every single one of these elements, you can come up here to the link and go ahead and link them to the page that you want them to be at. That's the beauty of that. Then at the bottom, again, I just selected a logo. I went to the elements section. I wanted a graph and I selected this one, and then I just changed the color scheme so that it fit my branding. Again, I would put the company name in every single one of these. This is the footer that I'm talking about right here. I put menu item 1, 2, 3, because in many of the one-page websites that I saw, I just didn't like that I wasn't able to navigate back home. And so here you would say home, come up to the link, go to the page. I will show you how it's going to work in a minute. If you click on here, you know, all you're doing is making sure that it's linked already. But if you click on the actual website design itself, you're not going to, I'm going to turn on the light. You're not going to be able to go to it. we're going to go and preview it now. I just want to show you how much faster it was for you to, once you have the wireframe, the mock-up, when you start to design, don't get caught up. Get the template, size the sections, name the sections, label your template so that you know you're working in the right draft. Then you go in and you start to fine tune it. And as you fine tune it, you can do this, click on preview. And this is where it gets really cool because you see these icons on the upper right-hand side, you see the desktop view, you see the tablet view, and you see the mobile view. And you can start adjusting it so that it fits and it looks good. Let's go to the desktop view and you see here is my announcement bar. If I want to go to contact, that's linked. If I want to go back up to the about section, and that's how we're able to navigate it so easily, right? And you see how it looks. You're like, yep, I like that. That's that. And I would say, oh, you know what? That looks too scrunched up. I'm going to want to have some open space there. So I just come here, you click on the section, and in order to have more space down below, you do that. In order for you to have more space on the other section, you do this. But if I want more space, let me actually lower it so I get a better view. Go to the lower right hand side to get the percentage lower. And now I just want to grab all of this and I want to move it. So all I did was I clicked outside. Let me do that again. I clicked outside of the page section and I'm just holding down the mouse and I'm dragging to capture all of that content, and I'm moving it around and I'm making sure that it's centered, and you can kind of see the lines there. You can make this your own, whatever you're comfortable with. If I want this to be sized a little bit differently, I can do that and then move it. And again, I'm using the Canva grid in order for it to be centered. This, I left this like this on purpose. I inserted a video. You could do a voiceover or you could add music to this. You can label this as like looking forward to meeting with you. And it's like, okay, 3 steps to meeting me, click the button, schedule the call, answer the questions that I have for you, and I'll see you on the other side. It's as simple as that. And this is what I mean about, like, if you just sit down and you prepare, you will have this ready to go in 30 minutes, maybe even 60 minutes if you are not sure what content to use, but don't overcomplicate it. After all is said and done, we come over here and we have our one-page website that we can now share the link to. All right, so this is just a preview, and let's say it is ready to go. Let me look at the mobile. It's great. It looks great. I love it. It goes to the different things. As you can see in some of these sections, I left it. I'm just giving you some guidelines as to what you could name the first service, second, third service, third service. That looks a little bit different than the original template, and that is okay because I wanted to follow the mock-up that I had. Let's say you're ready to go. We can publish as a website. Here, you can do the free domain, purchase a new domain, or use my existing domain. Go to the free domain, and then it's going to be a little bit of a link. Just remember, since we've locked your design while you publish your website, so it's not going to move anymore. And here is one of those things where, okay, I like how it looks, but if you do want to use, you can purchase a domain name through Canva. And again, don't get too caught up in that. You can always rename it and redirect it. But for now, I'm going to say just do the free domain. Go ahead and say continue. Enter your subdomain. Here's what's important. You've got to pick something good, like your actual name. So for me, I'm just going to say, I'm going to use my last name, Sagastumi Bookkeeping. And then I'll say my Canva site, Sagastumi Bookkeeping. Okay. And then I'm going to say continue. I'm going to say the description, bookkeeping services for realtor. It helps with SEO. You can even, have it be more extensive. I'm not going to say to hide it. Here's my URL, Sagastumi Bookkeeping. This is free. So you're going to have the My Canva. You can work around that, and I can publish it. And once I publish it, if I want to make any changes, I can unpublish it. Okay, I'm not sharing this link with anybody. I am going to change it. I'm going to delete it after this training so you can't go see it. But it says view website. All right, let me go look at the website. And for the most part, I'm very happy with it. I haven't finished linking everything, so that's why I would not want to, publish this. But you see how I just noticed, oh, home at the bottom, home has that underline, so I'm going to want to fix that. Oh, how do I do that? I'm going to go ahead. It says your site is now live. I'm just going to copy that. If I want to submit that. So when you go back in, it says, if you continue editing this design, you'll need to publish it again. Okay. So I'm going to say edit design. And I want to go to the bottom, and you see I can barely see that underline, but I'm clicking the home and I'm going up here to the menu, clicking the U, and it's done. All right, let's say I'm all done. I want to preview it. You preview, you're good to go. I love it. I grab I'm going to publish as a website. And again, so publish to the web. Changes you made to this design will need to be published again. And so even though I changed it, I did not say continue. Let's see, like I can say on published site, but I'm going to say continue. Don't get too caught up. If you have any questions, I know I'm going fast. I just don't want this video to be super long, but let me just tell you that I will be sharing a resource with you that if you go to that, I have a much slower paced how to step-by-step how to video of how to customize one of my Canva templates. So here we are again. Here is that favicon. If you click on that pencil, you can see that I could upload the favicon and you can see the images is here. So create a favicon that has either like the initial or a symbol or something for your own so you can override that C for Canva. I'm gonna say done and I'm gonna say publish. And while it's doing that, let me go ahead and pause. Oh, it's done. Let's go ahead and view the website. Let's go to the bottom because that's our checkpoint. The underline is gone and that's how I know this is the new version. And again, if you want to make any changes whatsoever, you can go back and say edit design. And while the edit design is going on, your website won't be published. What do you think? Can you see how quickly you can do this? And if you have a template, like one of the resources that I'll share with you in a few minutes, it goes even faster. But as long as you prepare, and that is why you have to research a few templates, a few websites. What do you like? What don't you like? You go back to, the little scribble, the little doodle. You create your mockup, follow the mockup so you have a really good idea of what you want. When you sit down to create it in Canva, start using one of their templates, or you can use one of mine. And so that's it. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing with my desktop, but I have a little bit more to share with you so that in case you want to fast track this design process.
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, ring that bell, and hit the subscribe button so that you're notified the next time that I publish another video, which will be next week. And by the way, next week's video, we start a series to talk about all things discovery calls: the what, the why, the how, the who, all the things. So come on back for that. You'll want to come back for that for sure. We covered a lot today, as we usually do. But let's do a quick recap. Today, we talked about how to create a one-page website using the free tool Canva for your new bookkeeping business. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just want you to get started so that you have something to put out there to start promoting your new business. It makes it so much easier for you to talk about what it is that you're doing, who you're serving, what you offer, how to serve, if you have something to share, especially if you can do it 24/7 and you don't have to be there all the time. Before we started designing the one-page website, we went over 5 things that you may want to consider doing in order to prepare to actually create the website. The first thing was doing some research, taking a look at other websites for you to get some inspiration, not copying, but what you like, what don't you like, so that you can adopt some of those things for your own website. The next thing was for you to watch those other 2 videos that I've previously created, where I talk about the reasons why you should consider having a one-page website, as well as the 6 core elements that your one-pager should have. And then we use that as a way to start thinking about what it is that the overlook and feel of your new website should have. That goes into the color scheme, the fonts, the logo, the photo you're going to use for your About Me section, and so on. And the 4th thing was, I just recommended that you maybe jot something down on a piece of paper to give you a little bit of an idea as to what are the elements that you're going to want to be putting down. The 5th thing was to actually create a mock-up, or what we call a wireframe, not to use any fancy software. Keep it simple. You can do a Google Sheet, or you can use a Google Sheet or a Google Word document in order for you to just do a little bit of blocking of where are the elements that are going to go. It goes so much faster when you sit down at your computer and access Canva, which is the free tool. You can do it with your free account. When you sit down to create your website design, it goes so much faster when you actually have that framework to refer back to, that mock-up, where the thing's going to be put, where the thing's going to go, so you can move them around if you want to prior to sitting down and start designing. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Keep it simple to start with. That's the thing that we focus on here. In order for you to start earning money so that you have a profitable business, you can't get stuck in the little things. Put it out there and you can always fine tune it, tweak, and repeat. Okay? So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, and hit that subscribe button. Now, I do have a resource for you, of course, as I usually do. If you don't want to start from scratch, I do have a resource that you can check out. I have a Canva template already with all the color scheme and the placeholder and the links and some placeholder copy that's specific to a bookkeeping business. You can check it out in my Etsy store, the Bookkeeping Shop, where I have a couple of Canva templates all ready to go, and you can start using them as they are, just update a little bit of the copy, or I do include a video training that goes into a lot more detail step by step as to how to customize it and make it your own. So feel free to check that out. I'll make sure to leave the link in the description of wherever you're watching this video. But that's all I got this week. So you may want to come back next week because, like I said, we're going to start talking about discovery calls. All things discovery calls, which have also been called consultation calls, free calls, assessment calls, whatever you want to call them. A discovery call is just that. It is a time for you and a prospect to discover how it would be to work together and if you're a good fit to actually work together. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you got a lot out of it. I will see you next week, same time, same place. I'm Veronica. Bye for now.